The inspiration for the bedtime story came to me 13 years ago, actually. Back then, I knew this young girl who seemed perfectly ordinary, seemed perfectly normal at first. And then I started noticing that she had like this heightened feeling of fear. Uh, it was kind of strange. For instance, if she was riding in a car and the car came to a stop and someone was walking by, it didn't even have to be like a creepy or shady looking person, just anyone walking by, her hand would go right to the lock and she would lock it and visibly be afraid. And for instance, she had a hard time being alone in a room because she would hear any sound, any normal creak from like the house or something like that, and would get very scared, like something, some kind of harm was going to come to her. And that kind of, it caught my eye and it got me a little concerned, and it was eventually revealed to me that these were fears that were instilled in her from a very young age by her mother. And I'm sure it was in an attempt to keep her safe. It makes absolute sense. I mean, you would use that on a small child to keep them out of danger. But this was something different. It was more extreme. And I know it made me look at myself and my family and go, you know what? Yeah, we would, and probably we have actually used that if there was a small child in the house. Like, for instance, that's hot, don't touch it, it's hot. Or like my grandma would say, don't get too close to the pool, you could fall in, you could drown. And that would keep the child away from the pool and away from the stove or whatever. Because young children, at least, they have, I guess, a limited understanding of things. So fear, like that, absolutely works. But this girl, I mean, as far as I could see, wasn't able to function the way a kid her age ought to, at least from what I could see. And that really, it troubled me, because I started realizing that this is something any of us could do. We could start by protecting someone through fear that way, but would we really notice if it went maybe too extreme and affected them that way? You know how when something bothers you and you feel like you have to do something? Well, that's how I felt. And for me, it was writing. And I remember I went home that night and sat down at the computer, and it was probably like 40 minutes. And I just wrote out this story. It basically became the outline for the short film, and it's the key points for the feature that we're working on now. Physical child abuse has physical proof. There's bruises or scars or cuts and things like that, but emotional child abuse, mental child abuse, that can be invisible. And in the bedtime story, we are going to see it. We are going to see it firsthand from the child's perspective. That's what the movie is really all about. That's my reason. That's why I'm making this.